Yeah, so I'm getting over a cold or fighting one. One thing that I was not aware of when you had kids is that you're through the winter, you're basically sick all of the time. Um, yeah, daycare is like a little germ factory, and it seems like he's constantly sick, and then that goes to my wife, and then it goes to me. So I usually get sick like twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, for whatever reason, when the weather changes, that's when it hits me. But it's usually pretty light, pretty low, just a little cold. But I think in the past 2 months, I've been sick like 4 times. So that's been fun. That's been an adjustment along with many other adjustments. Um, but that's besides the point. I want to thank everybody for coming. This is the second episode of Wealthy Wellbeing. And this podcast, I will be giving tips, tricks, information on how to make habit based changes to your lifestyle in order to produce a happier, healthier lifestyle. And I want to do that without introducing significant restrictions. And the main thing with that is the yo-yo dieting. So avoiding going really, really strict for a short period of time and then going back to where you were. And usually that ends up being in a worse position than when you started. And so what I want to do is give information on how we can help with that and do little things, small steps to get us there. So my name is Zach Bush, and I will be your guide through this journey. And I appreciate everybody hopping on and joining me. And also, I have gotten Spotify all sorted out. So if you are not watching this live, you can listen to it on Spotify. I have the recording on YouTube. So if you do want to see my face for whatever reason, you can hop on there and take a look at it. So multiple different platforms, just want to make it as accessible as possible for everyone. And today we will be talking about your support system, building your support system, and the importance and the role that the support system will be in this journey to better health and fitness, and the importance and accountability from the people around you and how you can build and maintain that support system. Because, just like anything else, we want to build that foundation. Last week we talked about clarity. This week we're going to talk about people to help you get there and to share that clarity, that vision that you have for yourself with, so that they can help you along the way. Because just like any journey, it's going to become with different challenges, different struggles, and you're going to want somebody to reach out to. And how can we create that environment around us with that support system that is conducive to those goals that we have? And this can really be applied to any type of situation. Health and fitness is one that we're talking about today, obviously, but it also can be real estate wise. I have an accountability group that I meet with, and we talk about what we're working on, what we did last week, what we're working on this week, partially as an accountability. Say, hey, here's what I'm going to do. Well, did you do it? Yes or no? Why not? And maybe they're going to give you a little bit of crap for not doing it if you didn't do it. So you can do it for real estate. You can do it for health and fitness. If you're starting a business, you can use that support system to hopefully that will help you work through all of the challenges that you have. So those are the high level things that we're going to talk about. So let's start with the importance of the support system and why do you need one? Why is this something that you should be focused on? Yes, thanks, Jeff. The support system and accountability to keep you going is huge. Jeff is a great person. He is in my accountability group, super motivational dude. And I'll mention him later because I do have a little snippet of one of the support people that you can have as part of your team. So the importance of a support system. So the tips and information that I'm giving are meant to be a lifelong part of your life. And it's not supposed to be a, get rich or get thin quick scheme. So building those people around you that you can lean on throughout the entire time will not only make you better, but it might make them better, right? The support system that you have that we'll talk about, one of those people may not be somebody that's actively trying to do what you're doing. They're just somebody that might be able to help you or that you can reach out to. And a lot of times that I've found when I start doing something, that kind of permeates to the people around me. So because this is a lifelong journey, you'll want those people, and those people will come in and out, and different people will come in and out. But it's super important to have those people to reach out to, because the struggles are going to come and go. It might be a lot in the beginning, and then you might not have a struggle for a couple of years, right? And having that person at the beginning and down the road will be super, super helpful when things get tough, inevitably, which unfortunately they do. But that's something, as long as you're prepared for and have the clarity and the support system, that you'll be able to work through and come out better on the other side and still achieve your goal. Um, so I might have mentioned this last week, but I saw a thing, I think it was Layla Hormozy, and she was saying that a study was done where they had a high performer at this company, and they had, a guy that was in the middle of the pack. He wasn't overperforming, he wasn't underperforming, he was just coming in, doing a job, doing decent work, and then going home. And what the study did was it took that guy and or girl, and they moved them next to the high performer. And what happened was the progress and the work level increased by some, I forget what it was, 30 something percent. So, and that wasn't even doing anything other than just moving his seat, moving where he sat. And then they did the opposite, where they put him near a underperformer, and they saw dramatic decrease in the output of their work by like 50 some percent. So that just shows that the people you're surrounded by will invariably and unintentionally sometimes either bring you up or pull you down. And again, it might not be actively, but it's just even surrounding yourself with those people will have an effect one way or the other. So that's just super, super important on why you need to surround yourself with the right people. The age old quote is, I don't even know who said it, but it was, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so when you're thinking through things, last week we talked about considering where you currently are and what you have going on, but thinking about who are those 5 people and how do they affect me. And again, it's positive, negative, whatever. It is what it is. And some people you can choose, some people you can't, and you just have to work around that. We'll talk about what that exercise will look like a little bit later. I always like to leave with some action items. So we will talk about a couple of things that we can do after this is done at the end, and hopefully kind of get you working on building, thinking about your support system, who it might be. And then the main thing with the support system is to be able to have somebody to talk to. You're going through this journey, and life, it should be fun, right? We should be able to have fun with the things that we're doing. If we're not having fun while we're doing it, while it might be hard, while it might be challenging, we still need to make it fun. I saw a thing on one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and it was literally that. It was like, if you're not having fun doing it, what's the point? So, and a lot of that might be a mindset thing where you need to, try to bring the fun out of it. And it's not always easy to do that. There's times where you're just like so down, so frustrated that it's hard to have fun, but just to try to find some fun aspect into it. And that's what that support system can be, whether it's, accountability, or just somebody you're keeping in touch with, or somebody you're going through the journey together with. Make it fun for each other. And if you can make it fun within that support system, your chances of success will go up dramatically. And an example that I pulled is a friend of mine years ago, I think, did a hike, did the Appalachian Trail, and super long hike. It's one of those things where it's like, that's like, I guess the hikers, like, that's their marathon or their Ironman or whatever. So he started on his own going through that, multiple, it's like 2,000 miles, I think, journey from Georgia up to Connecticut or whatever. And he started going through that alone and doing it, and fighting with himself mentally, and he was doing it, and it was great. But there was days where they were harder than others, whether it was the sun was beating down, or just was getting blisters, or whatever was happening. And it wasn't until probably a few weeks into it, maybe, that he ended up meeting a couple other people, and they started going together, and he was covering more ground with them throughout the entire journey because he had other people he was doing it with. And they were able to, they were talking, they were having fun with it. When one person was struggling, another person was feeling great and bringing the group around. Again, going back to, the high performer and average performer work, just being around more people doing the same thing, or at least encouraging you throughout the entire process, is super important. So you went through that, and yeah, like the group got a little bit bigger and bigger, and some people left, and they turned off, and some people joined back in, and so it was that whole process that made the rest of the trip a lot easier and better for him. And I remember just him talking, like just the way he told the story from when he started to when he met this group, this his energy and all the memories of it changed significantly. So whether it's a 2,000-mile hike through the forests on the east coast of the United States, or just eating, sleeping, going to the gym a little bit more, eating a little better, it's the same concept of having that support system. And again, it comes down to making it fun and having people you can go through it with. Um, and so, talking about different types of those support systems. And I like to break down into three different types. You have the emotional or mindset, you have practical support, and then you have the accountability. And some people in your life, some of your support system may cover all three of them. Some of them may only cover one. I mean, some of them might even cover none of them, and that's totally cool too. But taking an inventory and a thought on which type of people do you need at different times, and finding different people to cover all of those bases. And that's going to be super important, right? If you have one person who's covering all three, great. It still might be good to find somebody else who can also help with just the emotional aspect of it, or just the accountability aspect of it. And all of those different people, again, like the Appalachian Trail, right? Some might leave and some might come back into your life. And we want to make sure that we have enough of those people around that, if a couple people leave for a period of time, that we still have that support system, because that's going to what we're built on. So let's talk about emotional mindset person. So when do you need that support for emotional or mindset issues? And that's going to be when you inevitably come across those difficult times. And most likely it'll be towards the beginning of the journey. And whether that's you're just starting to do something now, or you've been doing it for a little while and you want to add another component in, or you want to get a little stricter. So you could be, for example, just starting now, like, hey, I want to just get going and start adding just veggies to all of my meals. And that will come with challenges, because you have to plan it, you have to prep it, you have to package it, and then you have to actually eat them. And so when you struggle with that, you can reach out to that person. But maybe you've been doing that for a few months. You've also, where you're working out 3 days a week now, and you're getting more protein. So you're getting a lot of those building blocks in. But now you want to start weighing and measuring your macros. You want to really dial things in. That's going to bring out a new set of challenges. You have the foundation down of the good habits, but that extra step into dialing it in more will cause more mindset issues, more emotional issues, because it's going to be a new challenge. And those new challenges should be always what you're striving for, because that's just going to make you better. And so you'll need those people to help get you through that. Especially if after a little while you're not seeing results. People see results at all different speeds. It depends on consistency. It depends on, how intense they're going with it. But even if me and my wife are doing the same diet routine, we're going to see different results. It's just going to happen. And she might see it faster, and I might see it faster. And it's when you're not seeing it and you're doing everything right, that's when you need to be able to have that support person to reach out to and say, I don't understand what's happening, and I don't know why, and it's frustrating. And so having them will kind of talk you off of the ledge, because it's easy to let that thought spiral, and then, why am I doing this? You stop doing it, and then you're back to where you were, right? You might go through that, but that's why if you have this person at the onset, at the start of it, you will be able to set yourself up to avoid those and having to reset everything from scratch. So who is this person? Who can you identify this person? How can you identify them? Who might they be? So somebody that's typically always kind of upbeat and positive, and they can always find that silver lining, and you never really see them in a bad mood. I found that most of those people are the people that always have that little extra motivational support for you. But it also needs to be somebody that you can talk to easily, that you can put yourself in a little bit of a vulnerable position with them, because emotions, mindset, it can be hard to talk about. And I know I struggle with it. So somebody you're comfortable with would be somebody that you want to find as your emotional support person. And one example I love to give is, I mentioned him, he might be on here still, Jeff McGrew. So he's in my accountability group, and he is like one of those guys that is just always super like positive, and he can like really just get you motivated and pump you up. And so like whenever I'm feeling anything, I'll reach out to him and be like, yo, I'm struggling with this. I don't know what to do, or I don't know why. And he's always like right on it. Like, here, do this, do that. Like, he's got a Tony Robbins kind of like persona to him. Sorry. But yeah, so something like that where it's like, boom, I'm ready to run through a brick wall now. Like, let's do it. Like, I don't know what I was doubting myself for. So yeah, I appreciate you, Jeff. Great guy to kind of connect with and meet with. He's doing a lot of awesome things too. And so he's like one of my emotional kind of people, especially when it comes to the real estate stuff. He's doing, similar things that I am. And he's really building out something nice. So being able to go to him, because he struggles with the same stuff too. I mean, everybody has a lot of similar struggles, but he's super, super helpful when it comes to things that I struggle with. So why is that important, right? Because I want to, when I'm down at the bottom, I want to be able to bring brought back up and be even higher. So when I'm low, right, I talk to Jeff and I'm ready to go. I'm back above where I was. And I was like, why was I even doubting myself? It's kind of like, if you go to like a seminar or a workshop and at the end of it, you're like, yes, I'm ready to do it. Like, I want to do all of the things. And that fades, but to have somebody that you can check back in to bring that back up with is super important. Sorry. All right. So talk about emotional support. We've got practical people now. So practical support person. When do you need this person? It is when you're actively doing the thing, whatever it is. And it will help make the action easier to take, or they might even be somebody doing it aside you or side with you. So what do I mean by make the action easier to take? So they might be somebody who is, maybe it's a spouse who you set aside the time to go to the gym or meal prep, and they're taking the kids, or they're cleaning the house so you don't have to do it, so you can set aside time, right? They're making it less of a barrier, less friction to get the thing done that you need to get done to build that habit and move you forward. So practical in the sense that they're literally helping you, maybe not with the thing that you're doing, but they're giving you time and space to be able to do it. Or even better, they're doing the action with you. So they're going to the gym with you, or they're meal prepping with you, or they're planning, or anything like that. So those practical people can kind of be an accountability. They kind of overlap a little bit, but they're somebody who mainly makes the action easier for you to take. And typically they are somebody who's closer to you, most likely a spouse or a roommate. And you interact with them pretty consistently, right? If they're taking your kids to give you the time, or they're helping you clean the house, or helping you with work, like they're going to be somebody who is in constant communication with you, and they will help remove those barriers to success. And why are they important? For obvious reasons, right? They give you the time to be able to do the thing, take the action, and go to the gym, meal prep, whatever it is. They give you that time, and they're allowing you to have that line of communication with them, because you need to have open communication to be able to have support from them. It's super, super important to be able to communicate. So that kind of leads into the practical, goes into accountability partner. So accountability is super, super important to have, because you can say all the things that you want to do, and it can be very easy to negotiate yourself out of it. Obviously, we'll do the best we can to not have those negotiations with ourselves, not like, oh, the snooze, like I can get up in 15 minutes and it'll still be fine. And so you need somebody that will actually hold you accountable, and that you can talk to about what you're doing and how often you're going to do it. And honestly, they're the first person that you should try to find. If you are just starting this journey, or any journey, whether it is, real estate or starting a business, find somebody who can hold you accountable. And it will be the most crucial person to find in support. because you don't want to ever go through something new and hard and long alone. So finding that person will be super, super important. Now, who are they? They can be somebody close to you. They might be somebody you talk to consistently, maybe not. But honestly, they don't even need to be somebody that's like really close to you. You can be a virtual partner, right? Most of the time, your accountability partner, you will be texting on a daily basis, meeting on a weekly basis. Hey, how did the week last week go? What are we planning for this week? What was our struggles? What was our wins? And then checking in every day. Hey, I said, and I know you said you were going to the gym for 30 minutes today. Did you do it? And more importantly, not letting the person get away with not doing the thing. And there's a fine line there, right? Especially if it is a friend or a family member. You want to be able to take that hat off for a second and be like, listen, like you said you were going to do this. Like, why didn't we do this? What can we do to make sure you do it again? And so that's going to be super important to have, is somebody who can be a little harsh on you, and can put their friend hat aside for a second, or their spouse hat aside, and give you the kind of hard knocks that you need to make it happen, right? And hold you accountable for that. And it's kind of an emotional support person too, because chances are your goals are kind of similar, and so you're discussing your goals, your end goals for the year, and your quarterly goals and your plan with them. And if they're doing the same thing you are, right, maybe a little bit different, but you can put your plans together. It's a little mastermind that you can have on how can we make this better, and how can we make ourselves better and hold each other to the standard that we think we should be held to. So finding that person first is definitely super, super important. But like I said, all three are going to be very important to have, and one person might cover all of them, and you might have one person cover one, or one person cover two. Like, it might be a mix. So finding multiple people to work through this will be something that should be done. A small accountability group, maybe one-on-one, is good, but if we can get 3 people together, that's even better. And it will just help build that network out. And when you go through those struggles, you'll be able to work together to get it done, because one person might be doing really well, one person might be doing okay, and then one person might be really struggling. And all 3 of you can come together and work together to help the person who's struggling the most, because in a couple weeks, a couple months, that person who was doing really good ran into something, and now they need the support. So having a group is something that should be done, because everybody's going to be at different paths at different times, and different struggles at different times. So how can we move from building our support group to cultivating that environment? I mentioned earlier communication, not just with your support system, but if your support system is not friends and family, to communicate with them what you're hoping to achieve. And, like I mentioned, the practical support person is saying, hey, here's the time that I'm going to go to the gym. I need you to help me with XYZ. And setting those clear boundaries with them. What am I trying to accomplish? Why am I trying to accomplish it? And that will do a couple of things. It will help you show how committed you are to that end result, that thing you're working towards. But it will also set the expectation of, hey, I need just one set amount of time. And other than that, we can work around it. And that's something that is going to be super helpful when you come to, blocking off your time. And, that's what you should be doing, is treating health and fitness like a meeting, like a business meeting, whether, or, an appointment, a doctor's appointment that you have to go to, is scheduling that time, putting it into your calendar, and not letting it move. And you should be able to plan when those times are going to be. You should be able to set a workout time, and then set a time to see what worked, what didn't work, right? So blocking off all of those different aspects and communicating that with your support system, right? Say your accountability group, I'm blocking off X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to do this, and then follow up with me to make sure that I did it. And your practical person, hey, I'm going to the gym X, Y, Z, or I'm meal prepping for these times. If you can just give me those times, I will take it the rest of the way and give you your time to do whatever you need to do. So that will do a couple things too. It'll help build that positive workspace. Everybody will be on the same page. There won't be any frustrations with each other, and being in a more positive workspace will help everybody be happier. It'll make the resistance a little bit less to do the thing that maybe you don't feel like doing. And um, it will help you see those results a little bit better and be more positive. Um, and, you really, to build a supportive environment is to surround yourself with like-minded people. Like I mentioned, you're the average of the 5 people that you're closest with. So if you go to a spot or go to somewhere where everybody's doing the same thing, you're going to be more likely to do that, right? If you want to get better at weightlifting, you're going to talk to people who are weightlifting. And if you're trying to start a business, you're going to talk to people who have started businesses before. And if you're getting into real estate, you're going to start talking to real estate. You're going to start talking about it more. You're going to start talking with people who are in real estate, going to meetups and go to meetings. And that will, again, just like the high performer, low performer example, that will permeate to what you're doing. It'll give you different motivation. It'll see what other people are doing and it'll motivate you. And I think, when it comes to supportive environment and support people, a great example is really any group class, but I'm going to use CrossFit as an example just because that's like what I love going to. And I think the reason that CrossFit is so successful is that it does develop that community. It develops that support system within itself. Like, yeah, it's nice that you don't have to think about what workout you're going to do. Like, it's all programmed. But most of the time that I end up going, it's because I know it's really like to see my friends and hang out with them. And it makes it a lot easier when you have people around you who are doing the same thing as you or doing what you want to be doing. So CrossFit is a great example. There's Orange Theory, F45s. There's even just like running groups, and even the hiking example. Going with a group going to be way more fun. And the more fun you have, the less restraint you're going to have. Kind of the less resistance you're going to have to go out and do it. And even coming down to real estate sub 2 group, that's a community, and that's why people love it so much. Is because there is support. Hey, I'm struggling with this. Oh, cool. Let's hop on a call and how can I help? I have this new thing going on with one of my properties. How can I help you with that? And so that support and that community aspect of it just helps bring everybody up, right? So that's why cultivating the support is super, super important. Now, as you're building that support system, as you're working through this, like I said, some people will come, some people will go, and it just depends on timing and what's going on in their life, what's going on in your life, and how things are progressing. But there are some obstacles that you will run into when it comes to your support system, mainly the communication aspect of it. You might have somebody who maybe they like something happened and they're not responding, or you're not scheduling your meetings out ahead of time and other stuff fills it in. Going back to the blocking time, making sure that you schedule that time with those people. And if the accountability person or the person you were reaching out to before is not communicating as well as you would like to, then it's time to try to find somebody else, find that different support system. That's why it's nice to have a handful of different people to be able to talk to. And then, like I mentioned before, the accountability partner, right? Letting them get away with stuff that they shouldn't be. Again, there's a balance there. Some stuff pops up and there's nothing you can do about it. But, being a little harder on them to set the standard and not let them go below that standard. And, they can convince themselves to get out of that standard, but you want to hold it there. And if that means you're not the right fit for each other, that's okay. But finding somebody who's going to hold the standard that you want to set is going to be super important. And that's going to be one of the main obstacles that you come across too with the accountability partners. Is stuff starts changing and focuses start changing, and it's just a part of the process and any process in general. So kind of a shorter one today, just a half hour. As you can tell, my voice is kind of struggling, but I always want to leave with some action items at the end of the call. So action item number 1, let's start identifying your support system. Like I said, you're the average of the 5 people closest to you. So let's get a list of the 5 people that are closest to you. That doesn't need to be physically close. It can be somebody you talk to consistently or that you have the best connection with, but just 5 people that you are the closest with. Now, it doesn't mean that these need to be your support people, but that they're just where you can start with potentially, and just identifying them. And if none of those people are the right support people, maybe we expand that circle a little bit more, or we're going to have to do a little bit more work in finding those support people. Obviously you can always reach out to me if you have any questions or anything. A coach is a great accountability person to have as well. So once you have those 5 people, or more if you have a lot of people closer, but let's start with 5. Once you have those, think about those people individually. So a list of questions to kind of consider when for each person. What kind of mindset do they have? Do they have a positive mindset, or are they really negative about everything? How do they make you feel when you're down and you kind of bring up how you're feeling, or when they're down, how do they feel? And do you guys have similar core values? Are you guys in alignment of what you're working towards, or what are priorities in your life, or what mean a lot to you? And consider, would they hold you accountable? Would they be somebody that kind of is harder on you? And you need one of those people, but you also need somebody who can kind of give you a little bit of grace too, for the emotional support. And so, would they hold you accountable? And would they be somebody that would be interested in going on this journey with you? And that's the best support person to have, is somebody who you can go, especially if you're starting at the same point, but go in the same direction. Maybe you're doing slightly different things, but if they can work through similar times and similar things with you, it will be a lot easier, because chances are you will run into similar issues, mindset wise, emotionally wise, time wise, but it might happen at different times. I might start struggling with something sooner, and then my partner, a couple weeks later, will start running into that thing, and they can come to me and I can say, this is how I got through it. Maybe that's helpful to you, maybe it's not, but at least I've gone through similar experiences. So having somebody going on the journey with you at the same time is definitely the most helpful. So action item number 1, pick 5 people closest to you, and then ask yourself those questions. What kind of person are they? Do they have values, mindset, and all that? And then once you have those people, talk to them and see if they want to be your support person, and we can start utilizing them. Set in a daily time to check in with each other. Set a weekly time for a phone call to discuss how the week went last week, how your wins were, and also what you want to accomplish this week, and be specific with what you want to accomplish. When are you going to do the meal prep? When are you going to go to the gym? How often? Be very specific, so there's clear wins and losses to have, because you're going to have both, and your partner will be able to help guide you through all of those. So I appreciate everybody popping on, and apologize for my voice, but I hope you can take away a couple action items. If you need anything, DM me, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. I'm here to help, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.